So now there's a story that I like to tell about surprising places from which we may get inspiration, that it's time to make changes in reinforcing how we live our purpose. This story comes from a well known psychologist named Dr. Marty Seligman, who was at the top of his profession and his career by most external standards. He had written several best selling books on psychological diagnosis of people's mental illnesses. He was president of the American Psychological Association and a much sought after speaker. Then, one day, his 5-year old daughter looked at him and said, "Daddy, why are you such a grump?" Now, this innocent but true comment struck very deeply within him. Yes, he was doing what the culture called successful, but was he happy? He did an abrupt pivot in his career and he began to study what actually made people happy and fulfilled rather than what was wrong with them. This led him to creating a whole new branch of psychology now called positive psychology. His research led to defining 6 core values identified across cultures as fundamental to human flourishing. These are wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. Temperance, for those maybe unfamiliar with the word, doesn't mean he doesn't drink alcohol. It means that you live in moderation. Now, each of these characteristics encompasses several character strengths like creativity, bravery, kindness, fairness, modesty, and hope that contribute to a good life. His therapeutic application helped people discover their, quotes, signature strengths, upon which they build positive changes in their lives rather than focusing on their weaknesses. Lo and behold, their so-called weaknesses dissolved much more effectively and rapidly when change was directed by their strengths. So we're going to take advantage of Marty's research in our next exercise called Creating Your Statement of Purpose. We'll engage in this exercise to shine light on our true heart's desire for this next chapter in our life. I've done this exercise periodically in my life, and perhaps some of you who have been in the school of integrative psychology have also done it. Nevertheless, every time I do it, although the words are different, the spirit and the feel of it deepens, giving me a reinforced certitude in my inner guidance and trust in my path. Now, even though the details, characters, and directions may change from day to day, it's never boring. It's always full of surprises and new challenges and emotional peaks and valleys. So we're going to write a statement of purpose for this time in our life. The words are not our purpose. Our purpose is ineffable. It cannot truly be captured just with the mind and words. And yet it's useful. It inspires us. It approximates that feeling of our purpose. It's important that each person uses her or his own words and feelings to make his or her unique statement. Now, an essential element of this exercise is to identify and be honest about your signature strengths. Now, the people who worked with Marty Seligman in developing positive psychology have put together a list of signature strengths that's actually quite extensive. I was inspired by the breadth of human potential just reading over the list. We do not have time to explore the list here thoroughly on handout 1, but I will put it on the screen and ask you to jot down, as I read through it, jot down several that strike you as either what you have developed or have the seeds within you and aspire to bring out more fully. So we're going to review this list to identify your top strengths, because in a minute, we're going to do this exercise of creating our statement of purpose. And you're going to write about 5 of the top signature strengths. Now, by top, I mean ones that really resonate with you. It's important here to avoid what I'll call false humility. And false humility is, oh, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or make people believe I think I really embody this strength. No, this is talking from your heart. This is talking to the heart of us, the others. So you're going to be picking the things that you think are really characteristic of you. We're going to pick the ones that resonate most with us right now, and we're going to use them in the next exercise. So the first category is creativity. This is originality and ingenuity, thinking of novel and productive ways to do things. This includes artistic achievement, but is not limited to that. There's also curiosity, interest. It's like being willing to explore and find new things in life, taking an interest in all of ongoing experiencing, finding something fascinating in all subjects and topics. Open-mindedness, thinking things through and examining them from all sides, not jumping to conclusions, being able to change one's mind in light of evidence, weighing all evidence fairly. Love of learning, mastering new skills, topics, bodies of knowledge, whether on one's own or formally, like in a class. This is obviously related to the strength of curiosity, but goes beyond it to describe the tendency to add systematically to what one knows. Perspective or wisdom, being able to provide wise counsel to others, having ways of looking at the world that make sense to oneself and to other people. Bravery, valor. This doesn't mean having to skydive, but it's just not shrinking from threats, challenge, difficulty, or pain. Speaking up for what is right, even if there's opposition. Acting on convictions, even if unpopular. Includes physical bravery, but it's not limited to that. Persistence. Keep going with things, finishing what one starts. Persisting in a course of action in spite of obstacles. Getting it out the door, as they say, taking pleasure in completing tasks. Integrity, authenticity, honesty, speaking the truth, but more broadly, presenting oneself in a genuine way, being without pretense, taking responsibility for one's feelings and actions. Vitality, zest, enthusiasm, vigor, approaching life with excitement and energy, not doing things halfway or half-heartedly, but jumping in with both feet, living as an adventure. Love, valuing close relationships with others, in particular, those in which sharing and caring are reciprocated, being close to people. Kindness, generosity, nurturance, care, compassion, altruistic love. Social intelligence, being aware of the motives and feelings of other people, knowing what to do in different social situations. Citizenship, working as a member of a group or a team, being loyal to a group, doing one's share. Fairness, treating all people the same according to notions of fairness and justice, not letting personal feelings bias decisions about others, giving everyone a fair chance. Leadership, encouraging a group of which one is a member to get things done, at the same time maintaining good relationships with the group, organizing group activities and seeing that they happen. Forgiveness and mercy, forgiving those who have done wrong, giving people a second chance, not being vengeful. Humility and modesty, letting one's accomplishments speak for themselves, not seeking the spotlight, not regarding oneself as more special than one is. Prudence, being careful about one's choices, not taking undue risks, not saying or doing things that might later be regretted. Self-regulation, regulating what one feels and does, being disciplined, controlling one's appetites and emotions. Appreciation of beauty, I think that's and excellence, not arid excellence. Okay. Noticing and appreciating beauty, excellence, and skill or skilled performance in all domains of life, from nature to art to mathematics to science and everyday experience. Gratitude, being aware and thankful for the good things that happen, taking time to express thanks. Hope, expecting the best in the future, working to achieve it, believing that a good fulfillment is something that can be brought about. Humor, I always add that one. liking to laugh and tease, bringing smiles to other people, seeing the light side, seeing the humor in life. Spirituality, it can include religiousness, faith, purpose, but it's having coherent beliefs about the higher purpose and meaning of the universe, knowing where one fits within the larger scheme, having beliefs about the meaning of life that shape conduct and provide comfort. So, as I said, we're going to write a personal statement of purpose now. Before we do, I wanted to share something that came to me as a lesson for this. This happened today as I was receiving news about some things happening in the United States, Minnesota, which struck me as very shocking. And I recognized the feelings that came up for me in hearing this news. Now, I know people in the Mideast are living in the midst of chaos all the time and have had to learn not just to survive, but to actually thrive in the midst of political activities that can seem outrageous. And so, as I was recognizing the feelings that came up in me, I began to think, well, wait a minute, I'm teaching a class today on signature strengths, nobility of people, but there's other aspects of humanity, and we can't ignore them or just do what's called spiritual bypassing, just seeing everything with rose-colored glasses. We have to be honest with our feelings. And as I was honest with my feelings, I noticed the thoughts that came to me about revenge or getting even or wishing negative things on other people. And I said, what's wrong with me? I can't be having these. I'm talking about the nobility of humankind. And then I had to catch myself by the collar. Wait a minute. Feelings are different than virtues. We all have feelings: sadness, fear, anger, and joy. And they are all signals, forms of intelligence that come to us. And it doesn't make us good, bad, or indifferent. We all have them. Now, it's what we do with them that makes the difference. Because I recognized as I was having feelings of anger and fear that I could just stick with that all day and continue fantasizing about how to get even. And no, I had to start looking at what are the deepest fears within me and what is the truth about them. I had to recognize that some of what I might see as evil or atrocities are parts of the human condition and parts of me. And rather than create separation of those bad people, how could I come back to a greater sense of balance and recognizing we're all part of humanity? We're all trying to work things out. I do not agree whatsoever with those actions. But if I recognize that I am part of humanity as with them, and I take responsibility for my own feelings, then I listen to what will I do about this. Am I going to march in the streets? I've done that. I've gotten arrested, back in the 70s. Am I going to write a letter to the editor? Am I going to vote? Am I going to continue to spread fear? Am I going to continue to harbor and let it eat away at me? Those are choices that each of us have to make. And it's these virtues which help us make choices that take those feelings and turn them into something that is productive and fits in with our purpose. Anger is life energy with the thought I'm not getting what I want. I don't want to live in this kind of a state with these kind of policies going on. I don't want to. All right. Anger prompts me then to use my life energy to see, well, what can I do to get what I want? Not be the victim of it. What can I do? What am I called to do? When I was in my 20s and 30s, I was called to march in the street. What am I called to do right now in my life? Well, I said, I'm called to teach this class today. That's what I'm called to do. I'm called to be here with my spiritual family and not sugarcoat or make everything rosy or wonderful from the ego point of view, but to get to the truth of who we are on this planet and what we're here to do. I can't tell that for you. But what I can do is I can share tools with you. I can share tools with you about how to self explore. I can create the space so that you actually do it. You can read a self help book and see all sorts of tools. That doesn't mean you're going to do anything with it. But you've made a commitment to be here and to work together and to apply these tools to your life.